What if I told you that one of the greatest military minds in all of history thought that winning 100 battles in a row was, well, kind of average? It's a wild idea, right? It flips everything we think we know about victory completely on his head, and it comes straight from Sun Tzu's The Art of War.
Okay, so let's really get into this. This is one of Sun Tzu's most famous lines, and man, it just challenges the way we think about success. I mean, we celebrate generals with perfect records, we admire that undefeated streak, but Sun Tzu comes along and says, hold on a minute. If you have to fight 100 times to get the win, you're kind of missing the point.
So that leads to the big question, right? If a perfect combat record isn't the absolute peak of skill, then what is? What is this supreme, ultimate skill that Sun Tzu valued more than anything else? Well, the answer is just as brilliant as it is powerful.
For him, the greatest victory, the true mark of a master strategist, is winning without ever having to fight in the first place. It's all about subduing your enemy before a single sword is even drawn. And this is what's so fascinating. It's how Sun Tzu completely reframes the idea of victory. He wasn't just thinking about who's left standing at the end. He was thinking about the cost. 100 victories? That means widespread devastation, empty cities, and just staggering losses for everybody. It's that classic brutal math. Kill 1,000 enemies, lose 800 of your own. It's a strategy of brute force. But the no-battle victory? Well, that's pure strategic genius. It preserves everything. Your people, your supplies, even your enemy's resources, which you can then make your own. The cost effectiveness is just off the chart. And look, this isn't just some abstract theory. There's this incredible story from history that shows this principle in action. A story about a philosopher who stared down an entire empire with nothing more than his brain. All right, so picture this. On one side, you have the state of Chu, a massive empire, a real heavyweight of its time. And their ace in the hole? A brand new, supposedly unbeatable siege weapon called the Cloud Ladder, designed by this genius engineer, Gong Shupan. And on the other side, the tiny, vulnerable state of Song. Their only real asset? A philosopher named Mozi, a guy who was all about peace. On paper, this is a total mismatch. So Mozi travels all the way to Chu and begs the king to call off the invasion. But the king is arrogant, He's completely in love with his new military toy and just waves Mozi off. So, diplomacy fails. But Mozi, he doesn't just pack up and go home. He's got another idea, one that doesn't involve a single soldier. And this is where his plan is just brilliant. Right there, in the king's hall, Mozi says, let's play a game. He literally takes off his belt and lays it on the floor. That's the city wall. He grabs a few wood chips. Those are his defensive tools. Then he turns to the great engineer, Gong Shupan, and says, all right, attack my city. So Gong Shupan tries 9 different strategies, 9 different ways to break the wall with his models. And one by one, Mozi calmly counters every single move. This line from the historical text just captures the moment perfectly. Gong Shupan had used up every trick in his book. He had nothing left. Meanwhile, Mozi still had plenty of defenses to spare. The unbeatable weapon was beaten. Now, the king of Chu saw this whole thing unfold. He realized 2 things. 1, his fancy new weapon could be defeated, and 2, Mozi had almost certainly prepared the real state of Song with these exact defenses. The invasion would be a long, bloody failure, so he called the whole thing off. Mozi saved his nation without a single casualty. That is winning without fighting. Now, hearing all this, you might think Sun Tzu was a pacifist, that he thought fighting was always the wrong move. But his philosophy is actually way more practical and nuanced than that. And that's the key question, isn't it? Is this brilliant strategy just a nice idea that falls apart in the real world, where sometimes you just have to use force? And the answer is a clear no. Sun Tzu was a total realist. He knew that conflict is sometimes unavoidable. His point wasn't to get rid of fighting as an option, but to put it in its proper place. It's a tool of last resort, not your go-to move. This table lays it out so clearly. The superior strategy, the top-tier one, has the goal of preservation. You win by keeping everything intact, your nation, your army, even the enemies. You do this with strategy, with diplomacy, with your mind. The secondary option, that's when your goal is destruction. That's open warfare. It's a lesser victory because even if you win, you've broken things that could have been yours. And what's so powerful is that this principle scales up and down. Sun Tzu applies this logic to every single level of a conflict. We're talking from the fate of the entire nation down to a tiny 5-man squad. At every single stage, the goal is the same: Capture it whole. Win by preserving, not by destroying. Okay, so let's bring this all back home. It's fascinating as military history, for sure. But what's truly incredible is how this ancient wisdom applies far beyond the battlefield, right into our lives today. You see, this is more than just battlefield tactics. It's a form of what's called great wisdom, or da ji hui. It's a mindset for getting what you want in the smartest, least destructive, and most efficient way you possibly can, no matter what the situation is. I mean, think about it. A business negotiation, is your goal to ruin your competitor or to make a deal where you come out on top? A legal dispute, do you want to drag it through the courts for years or find a settlement that achieves your objective without all the fighting? This applies everywhere. And this right here is the heart of it all. This is the essence of winning without fighting. You don't need to destroy your opponent. You just need to destroy their will to oppose you. Just like Mozi showed the king of Chu, you make the conflict seem so costly, so difficult, so unwinnable that they decide for themselves that it's just not worth it. So I'll leave you with this question to chew on. Look at the conflicts and challenges in your own world, at work, in your career, anywhere. Instead of asking, how can I win this fight? Try asking, how can I make this fight completely unnecessary? The answer might just be the highest victory you can achieve.